Seek your input on how to enhance this corridor as a vibrant and unique creative hub and destination. That'll be Tuesday, September the 9th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Riverside Middle School Media Center located to give us an educational presentation on the 1% capital sales tax.
Yes, sir. So I'm Drew Cole. John Fox couldn't be here. He got sick, so I'm covering for him. But I'm Drew Cole. I'm a project manager for Anderson County. I'm actually from Pendleton. Grew up, born, raised. Went to Pendleton High School. Went to Clemson. So it's nice to be back home. I appreciate y'all having me.
Good to have you here.
Sir. So let's see. Okay.
All right, this should work for you. If it does not, then we'll click for you.
All right. So number one complaint we've got as a county, I'm sure as municipality, surrounding municipalities, is roads. We all know they're same, right? We're trying to figure out a way and what is the best way to fix this issue. It's only going to get worse. So like I said, number one complaint's roads. So we got to figure out, okay, so if the roads are, failing, what does that mean? What we know they stink, but how bad do they stink? Well, so we hired a third party, I believe the town of Pendleton did as well, hired a third party company to come in and scan all of our roads to get a score of what our roads are compared to neighboring counties. And that came back just what we thought. They stink. So all the and it's only going to get worse. Like I said, there's not a very good solution right now. Let's see. Bridges, same way. We've got 4 bridges. The county owns 160 bridges. We only maintain 160 bridges. We've got 4 of them that are out right now, closed due to deterioration. And then we've got 52 that are weight restricted.
Nothing. Just stop. Stopped altogether, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. I've got it.
That would have been, yes, that would be much better. No. Oh, it is? Okay.
Don't ever put final on the top of the file.
I
Because
was
they'll
also
never be
did.
the last one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be much easier to do it this way too.
There we go. There we go. Okay. So, as I was saying, we're experiencing the state of South Carolina is the fastest growing state in America. And that's on the national scale. Locally, the upstate is experiencing growth like it's never seen before, particularly Pendleton and Powdersville, due to the expansion of Clemson, and then Greenville coming down to Powdersville. We'll skip through some of these I've already covered. So with the deterioration of roads, obviously the residents are gonna incur increased vehicular failures. It's also inconveniences residents because, if a road's closed, you gotta have to take a detour. It just adds time and nobody likes doing that. So this is another thing to take into consideration. Y'all can read, but the one that sticks out to me the most, between 2017 and 2024, one death every 8.5 days. It's almost once a week. We're the worst in fatalities in South Carolina due to traffic. And a lot of that is due to safety concerns with intersections, deterioration of roads and bridges. So not only locally and statewide, but nationally, we are ranked 10th in the worst county for traffic fatalities. And that's on a, per population. So counties that are similar to us in population, we're the 10th worst in traffic fatalities. It's kind of eye-opening. So another problem, we got to quantify it, and that's where that third party, like I was saying, they scanned our roads and basically told us what we already knew. And this was the outcome of that scan. This doesn't take into account all of our roads, but the vast majority of our roads were scanned. And as you can see, most are fair to failing. And this is just another visual of what that looks like. So these are examples of fair roads. This is when the issues start to show themselves. And if you don't do anything, they turn out to this, where on the right, it's not even asphalt anymore, it's gravel. And then you've got these, basically potholes, patches with bumpy ride, and then this one in the middle is due to rutting and various other issues that can't be addressed unless it's reconstructed. So obviously the goal, that's what we want the county to look like. So the challenge, how do we do it? Well, just some background information. So our primary funding comes from C funds and property taxes. A C fund is from the state gas tax. It is a program so when you pay the gas tax, it goes to the state. C fund is a program to give back to the municipalities, Anderson County, Pendleton, everybody around here. So that C fund has 33% of that stuff or 33% of the money that the C fund receives has to go to DOT roads off the top. So we're splitting 66% of roughly, I think on average, it's like $6 to $8 million between every municipality around Anderson County. With 1,500 miles of roads, that's not going to get very far. So put it in perspective, this is a map from Anderson to Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's what 1,500 miles looks like. And we're talking about a department for Anderson County. 80 to 90 people are maintaining this at any given time during the week. That's not to count 160 bridges. Like I said, we own 160 bridges. County council allots roughly $1 million a year for major infrastructure maintenance. That is bridge maintenance, that is road paving, that is potholes, that's everything we get. And when on average a bridge costs $3 million to replace, what do? Like I said, we close them. We close bridges. 4 closed bridges and 52 weight restricted bridges due to the poor conditions that we have. So this is a breakdown of the property taxes for the county. So we'll just say, for argument's sake, you pay $100 in taxes. Well, $74 of that $100 goes to schools and fire departments. Every other public service that is provided has to split the remaining $26. So once it gets down, trickles down to paving roads, you can imagine there's really nothing left. So this is just showing if we continue to not do anything, by the time 10 to 15 years from now, every road that we have will be either fair, poor, or failing. So how can we get there? So we looked at three options. One was a flat vehicle tax, $25 per vehicle every year. I think that roughly comes out to $6 million a year, which really, I mean, we're talking about a $1 billion problem. So this really doesn't even scratch the surface. And then, so that wouldn't work. So property tax, okay, that number right there is based on the county raising property taxes, the maximum it could raise it, which is, and when we talk about millage, I think it's 25 or something like that. I'm not too sure on that, but that's based on raising everybody's property tax the most they can raise it. And let's face it, that's not going to happen. So what we're left with is this capital sales tax. Generates roughly $380 million over 8 years. And then it is shared, the responsibility of that is shared not only with the residents of Anderson County, but anybody who comes to a Clemson game, anybody who comes inside the county that does not live there for events. I think right country we had 30,000 people, so you know you have 30,000 people sharing the load that weekend. So the process, the county and municipalities appointed a commission to oversee this capital sales tax process. We submitted projects in a list and phased those projects. We took in every surrounding municipality's wish list and incorporated that into our final project list. Once the commission reviewed it, made some changes, they started developing the ballot question. And it's worth noting, the commissioners are not voted in. They're not elected officials. They are appointed citizens of Anderson County. Don't receive any kind of money or anything like that. So once the commission approved the list, they chose to bond $20 million worth of that 380 so that we can start projects immediately. If they didn't do that, the citizens of Anderson County wouldn't see construction for a year or two because the collections wouldn't have came in. So we tried that. $20 million will be paid back by the sales tax revenue. And then they made the referendum, put it to the vote. They chose the county council put it on the ballot for November. So you will see that in November. And if it passes, construction will start early to mid next year with that bond. And then it'll be regularly audited by the Department of Revenue. That's kind of like the overlook of this whole process. So basically this slide's a projecting, obviously this is on average, the more you spend, the more you're gonna pay, vice versa. But on average, every adult in Anderson County would spend $136 extra in taxes per year for this to go through. So what will be funded? No county buildings will be built. No civic centers. It's got to be a road, it's got to be a bridge, or it's got to be a safety intersection project. And they're all listed out. If they're not on the list of projects, they cannot be done, period. So that's, like I said, once we took into account all the municipalities, that's 271 paving projects, 18 intersections, and 17 bridge/culvert. So how are they chosen? So we took a data-driven approach. Like I said, we tried to make this as non-political as possible. We went from top to bottom at the county. We went by road classification, road condition, repeat maintenance requests, how many times we're going out to the same road with the same issues, how much money that is, crash data, and bridge condition. Once we did that, the surrounding municipalities did the same thing. We took in those projects into account. The commission had the meetings, had a public participation session, and then now we are going around to meetings like this to try to spread education. We can't advocate, but we can educate, so that's what we're doing. The key takeaway of this whole thing is, in my opinion, is only roads and only bridges are gonna get this money. There is no, if it's not on the list, it's not getting done. So the advantages, I think the advantages for this sales tax compared to other taxes, transparency. Like I said, if it's not on the list online, we can't do it. Legally, we can't do it. If the money's spent on something else, somebody's getting locked up. I mean, period. The tax, it's got a end date. So unless the citizens of Anderson County vote to do another 8 years or another cycle of tax, this goes away in 8 years. The commission, they were appointed, they weren't voted, it's not elected official. They were just citizens like me and you, said that they felt like they could serve Anderson County and decided to. So the exemptions, anything that is covered by EBT, SNAP, there's a couple other I'm not real familiar with, but anything like that is exempt. Groceries are exempt. Any unprepared food are exempt. That's including formula. I believe, I'm not exactly sure, but I think like hygienic stuff is exempt. So this is basically, I mean, like if you go out to eat, or if you go, want to go buy a new purse or whatever, that's kind of capturing that kind of stuff. And then the shared responsibility of the tax, I think, is a big key. And then it also doesn't apply to prescription drugs or fuel either. And then the oversight, I think that's one of the more important things too, is Department of Revenue is going to be regularly auditing us, as well as the commission. So that's all I got. That's a QR code if y'all want any more information, or I'll be around. I've got some handouts too if y'all want. So, got any questions?
So what are the steps are you guys taking to get the word out on this? It's 2 months of the election.
We're fighting time for sure. This is it, pretty much. Town hall meetings and obviously our website, but that's pretty much it. We're limited on time.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
All right, we'll move on now to approval of minutes. Hopefully council's had a chance to look at the minutes. And having said that, are there any changes that need to be made to them? If not, do I have a motion that we pass them as presented?
Motion to pass the minutes, accept the minutes.
Okay, we have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. All right, next we have public comments. There's a 3-minute time limit per resident, business owner, or town property owner. You have to be one of those to be able to speak in public comments. Having said that, is anyone out there that'd like to make a comment? If so, raise your hand. Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on. We have some reports, first of which would be the police department report, and we have our chief, Robbie Crosby, here to give us that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, good evening. It's good to be back up here after a 1-month absence. I didn't want to let David do 2 in a row again, so I needed to hurry up and get back. So, and I was tired of living in the swamps at Fort Stewart. Anyway, so since August 1st, we've had over 610 calls for service. We did take 13 reports, 5 of which were cleared by arrest. 50 warning tickets were issued and 19 state tickets were issued. We did have 1 critical incident this month. We had a assault with a deadly weapon. A young male juvenile was shot on the 400 block of West Queen Street. Luckily, the suspect decided to drop his wallet as he got out of the vehicle to commit the crime, and therefore the identification of said suspect was very easy for the detectives. So that was good. The male is fine. He just a little injury to the foot, but he's doing well and everything. So. Which leads to the next bullet point on there. So regarding that shooting, we realized that there was a residence in town that had a bunch of juvenile squatters that had moved in. We didn't know anything about. Because the gentleman that got injured in the shooting provided an address, and when we checked with the staff here, Terry was able to say, well, we didn't have service to that. There was no town services, but we went out there. Jay went out there and helped us, and they were stealing water from neighbors' residents, and there was 4 juvenile living in there along with 2 adults. So we were able to get rid of all them and place them on trespass, which little did we know that they had been having several big parties and stuff like that hadn't gone reported yet. So I definitely got some phone calls from some neighbors after we got rid of them, which they appreciated the police department's efforts in getting rid of those individuals. So hopefully that if we would have got that taken care of beforehand, maybe it wouldn't have led up to the shooting incident, which was all related. But either way, it's taken care of now. We're back on the straight and narrow. Fire department, the fire department received 31 calls for service. Out of those 31, 22 of those were located inside the city limits. Other couple of quick notes of update. Hiring, we have hired 1. We have given conditional offers to 2 additional folks that will bring us up to that 10 full-time employees as you all approved in this year's budget. So we're just waiting for a few last little quirks and some job stuff, and we'll have them on board here hopefully by the end of September. So,
How's that help with coverage?
that will open up 3 shifts now, where we'll have a shift working on Saturdays from noon to 10 p.m. So that gives us 6 days a week as opposed to the 5 days that we currently have. We hope to see some good improvement off of that. NCIC, so thanks to the update from council for this budget year, we were able to get the required security measures necessary to be fully in NCIC compliance. I got the letter today from SLED saying we did pass our audit. So now we're good to go on that, and all of our stuff's in compliance with SLED and CGIS and all that stuff. So I appreciate that. We did also purchase a Power DMS. We had to do that because of policy audits. We got audited right before I went to go to Fort Stewart. We passed that audit, but we realized that the frequency and length that these audits are coming every essentially 30 months, it's unsustainable to try to manually go through every couple of years and open up a Word doc or PDF and change and go back and forth or add and do stuff. So we did purchase Power DMS. That'll also take us into a portion of accreditation. So now that we have a thing to manage our policies and procedures, and now we can look forward to going to accreditation. The good thing about Power DMS, and I think it'll benefit the citizens as well, is Power DMS has a hyperlink option that Lindsay will be able to put online underneath the police department tab, and residents and visitors and citizens can go on there and click on that hyperlink and be able to view all of our departmental policies and procedures and stuff like that. So how we operate, how we do things will be full transparent to the public. So I think that's a good thing that we have. It goes kind of how we work and stuff like that. Let's see, hiring and CIC, animal control. We had a couple animal control calls last week. Had some feedback on some of them. So I did reach out and try to get an update countywide and going on with animal control. I reached out to the Clemson Paws, which is a nonprofit group. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I have not heard back from them. I spoke to Anderson Paws, the sheriff's office, and I spoke to Tri-County, their veterinary school. So with Tri-County, we're looking at, I meet with her this week. We're going to try to talk about some options on what to do with animals. Because currently, right now, the up-to-date information coming out of Paws and Anderson, this is what they're taking and what they're not taking. Our typical calls are the loose dogs, loose animals running at large. They will not take those animals whatsoever. We can't just load them up, put them in the truck, put them in the kennel, drive them down to Paws and wait for an owner to show up. The recommendation from Paws is if someone locates an animal that's running at large and they take it upon themselves to house that animal or shelter that animal, at that point, that animal does kind of become not their property, but in their control. So, and the recommendation was, hey, go onto the county Facebook page or the Anderson County Lost and Found and post images of the animal for help. Now, we will come out there and use the chip reader and attempt to find the owner and get the animal back to the owner as soon as possible. But if it's not a chipped animal or something like that, then there's really nothing we can do, because Paws is not accepting any animals from the public or law enforcement. The only way they're taking animals is during a animal control seizure for maltreatment, some sort of investigation, animal bites that occur to humans or to other animals, a severely injured animal, or an animal that's been dumped. So say someone moves, somebody gets evicted or whatever, and they're like, well, the new place I'm going, we can't take, it doesn't accept animals. So they just drive in the middle of nowhere and dump an animal off. Apparently happens a lot in the county. The sheriff's office supervisor was telling me. So those are the only current, as of today, the only thing that Paws will accept. So if we get a call for animal run at large and we're able to capture that animal, use the chip reader, we'll attempt to get it back to the rightful owner. If not, and we can't catch the animal, it's just, hopefully it just goes home, because that's about 90% of the time they're going to get hungry. They're going to go back. I mean, my cats, they get out of the fence, they're going to come right back home because they're fat. There is no action for Paws as regarding cats. They don't do anything. They did advise me that their trap, neuter, and release program that they used to have for law enforcement is no longer available. It is only civilians that are allowed to do that. So if a citizen traps a cat, that citizen, if they call us, we can't take it, because Paws has said no more law enforcement bringing in a trapped cat. It has to be the citizen. Now, if I trap one at my house and bring it, they'll neuter it and then they bring it back. I have to go pick it back up and bring it back here and release it back in my backyard or wherever I found it. So they do still do the TNR program, but only civilians right now. So that's the updates that I found with animal control. Still trying to get maybe better options, better procedures to do some things. We're constantly looking at it, but as of right now, that is the update throughout the county. Barring anything else, any questions?
I just want to confirm, you do have a chip reader, because I was.
We do. It's in the truck.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And the officer said they did not have one, so.
Yeah, I was confused until I spoke with Jay and he got me on the straight and narrow. And yes, it's in the
I'm
truck.
glad you're informed. Thank you.
Yes, it's all Jay. He helped me.
Are we enforcing the hands-free law that just went into effect with cell phones?
I know the law, Mr. Mayor. I would assume we will if we see it. If we see somebody riding down the road and they're just tweeting away or, you know.
Just stand at the
Yeah.
traffic light.
I've seen a little bit about it in the news. I just wondered if it might be a good idea to kind of try to educate people about that a little bit.
For those that do not know, Mr. Mayor, thank you. And I will get with Lindsay and maybe throw up a little blurb there. South Carolina went completely hands-free. You're not even allowed to now pick up your phone and dial a number. So hopefully your car is equipped with CarPlay or Android Auto or something like that. That was what the governor signed in April and went into effect yesterday. So it was completely hands-free. You're supposed to utilize it that way, talk to text and all that other good stuff. So that's probably the easiest way to describe it. It's leave your phone in the charger or on the cradle, use your talk to text or voice Siri and Android voice person, whatever that's called.
Yeah, you can't have it in your hand. That's pretty much
That's
it.
correct. Can't have it in your
Can't
hand.
touch your phone even while you're stopped,
You know,
unless you're parked.
I would agree.
I read-
So that is in the eye of the beholder. That brings up a very good question. If I'm sitting at a stop traffic light, you know, and not moving, can I pick up my phone to dial a number?
It says no.
It says no.
Yeah. Can you touch your phone when it's in the cradle?
It
Yeah,
says do not touch your phone
I know.
while operating the vehicle.
I would say that the town's police department policy is not to get militant with, we're not going to be the phone Nazis out here. You know, please, you should be texting and driving anyway.
I need to get a big book of like this to-do notebooks, you know, and it just says, you messed up.
You messed up.
This is the new law. And you just be handing them out. Just stand right there. And
I'm just going to just stand right there and just.
Yeah.
You know, anytime the state has come out with a new law, even when with the town, we put in our 4-ways and stuff, you know, it was probably 2 to 3 weeks of warning enforcement. Hey, friendly warning, you know.
There's a grace period in the
There
law.
is.
You would have to have a
They're not going to be enforcing it for a
a
while.
mass warning operation.
Oh, one of the emergency alerts that go out. And then you pick up your phone to answer it and to look at it.
Yeah.
And then you get your
Traffic.
ticket.
Yeah.
Traffic.
Well, suppose it's okay to pick your phone up and dial 911.
You know, that's
according to what I heard. You can pick your phone up and dial 911.
That's right. Hey, I'm following an intoxicated driver. Oh, I need to call 911 because I have a car that's reliable and it's not fully electronic and the brakes don't go out. Oh, that's just me. Yeah, I don't, you know, a safety call for public safety to 911 should be exempt. But then you have to get in the meat and potatoes of
Pull
it.
over and park the car.
Pull over, and now I'm not following the intoxicated driver. And even though I'm asking, hey, are they still following them? You know, it is one of those weird ones.
Yeah.
So
can you just pull off the road and make a phone call?
I would assume so. Or pull off the phone, dial it real quick, get back on speaker, and put it in your lap and keep driving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come up with something creative. Just 2 hands on the wheel. Don't have a phone in one of them. Best bet.
Yeah.
Other than phones and
And we did just have a presentation about how we lead the nation in accidents. So
Yeah.
well, I will tell you,
Maybe this is good information.
we average about 7 accidents a month here,
And half of those are down.
and the 90% of them are on Highway 76, and it's typically inattention. Somebody's either accelerates too fast from a stop light, or they're not paying attention and rear end somebody at a stoplight or turning into QT. That's where we see most of it. Or it's Kaler's worked a couple where they've had an intoxicated driver. So,
So we need a roundabout at QT. Is that what you're telling me?
a roundabout at QT. That's an interesting one.
I don't think it's on the list, even if we get the sales.
I don't know if we get the, you might need to bump the 1% up to,
I'll have to do it like Chick-fil-A and just do the roundabout around the QT.
Chick-fil-A's got it working. They have it working. They get people in and out without, I don't know how Clemson survives with that. It drives me insane. Anyway,
All
I
right.
digress. I
Thank
go
you
down the
for
rabbit hole. Anyway, anything else?
Good to have you back.
That's it. Good to see you, Rob.
Good to be here. I'll turn it over to my esteemed colleague.
All right, so next we have the planning department report. Dave Paulson.
Mayor, Council, good evening. In the month of August, we issued 33 permits. Those broke down as into 8 new homes. Those were duplex units in the Champions Village development. We did 6 interior renovations, 1 new pool, 3 new roofs, 9 electrical and mechanical permits, 1 new sign, 1 accessory structure, and 4 others, which included a grading, a building addition, or building a deck. In the month of August, we answered 16 code enforcement complaints. Owen identified 15 businesses, which were all subcontractors working in town without a business license, which resulted in a collection of $3,282.52 in licensing fee and $75 in permit fees for a total of $3,357.52 for the month. During the month of August, we had a pretty busy month. The first thing we did was we met with Main Exchange. I know I've said that 3 or 4 times that we've been up here, but we're really finalizing their final plan for their sidewalk plan. Plus, we're working with them. They had some water drainage going into the basement of their building. Ended up being that was their drainage pipes where their gutters were going and feeding to. So we're able to help them work through that. But I'm hoping to get the finalized plans for the sidewalk and get those to you guys soon so they can continue their development there. We also, staff played a part in the creative placemaking phone survey that the MRB group did. This is a survey where they're looking at the Riverside Middle School all the way down to the doghouse, looking at what can be done there in this area. You know, is an area for an arts district, or what can be done there. So they're really doing a really big drive to get information. I think they're actually having a public meeting next week on the 9th. So we were able to participate in that and give them our feedback on what we've seen and what we thought could be used in the town. So looking forward to that. Also during the month, as I told you, Rico's back. We were able to sit down with him. We've scheduled the next meeting for September the 15th, which is our regular meeting for this month. Hopefully we can get the committee to go through the revisions or what have they've seen in the draft that we gave them, get that back from them, and hopefully get this thing going through the approval process. Hopefully it won't be in the committee long. We can get it out and get it through, and hopefully we can, get that process going. It's going to be a neat thing. It's going to be a good thing for us. We're just keeping it moving. Also during August, staff assisted with the Planning Commission's regular meeting. At this meeting, they held an executive session with the town attorney. They wanted to get some information on the plan developments and major changes. As you know, we have a process going through right now where developers asking for a major change. So the commission, instead of making a ruling on it, asked for an executive session. They did some really good discussions, and it's going to go back to them at their meeting next week. We also, they gave us some feedback on the TIF district design ordinance that we've hired Rebecca Vance to help us develop. We've given them a draft. They gave us some feedback back. We're going to have a public charrette on that design element on the 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. So we're adding into the TIF charrette thing. So please come out and give us some information. Tell us what you think. This is the ordinance that will depict what gets built there and what it looks like and what all is going to go on there. So we really need some information. Planning staff also assisted with the PABA's Last Splash, the event they had here in town. It was a fun time. We got to hang out with Lindsay and Gabe from the police department, handed out popsicles to the kids. It was a really fun event. We enjoyed it. I got a free car wash from the fire department, even though I didn't sign up for it. But it was fun. We had a good time. And then the last thing we did was planning staff presented a presentation to the PABA meeting. They had at their meeting, they just kind of wanted us to kind of talk about what kind of businesses are in town, what are we seeing, what types of people are coming to town, and what do they needed to do if they were interested in starting a business or bringing a business to town. And the biggest message we wanted to get out is if you're interested, just come talk to us. Come sit down. Let's go over things. Make sure you've got the information you need to be successful. And that was the biggest thing that we wanted to get out. So that's really all we have. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
David, can you give us the location of the TIF district meeting?
It's going to be
Pendleton
Pendleton Elementary School in the cafeteria.
In the cafeteria?
Yes, ma'am.
7?
It is 6 to 8 p.m.
6 to 8.
Yes,
And then
ma'am.
this one at Riverside is the
5:30 to 7:30. That's also a public meeting. That's on that placemaking from Riverside Middle to the doghouse.
Okay, and it also, if you cannot attend, there is a survey that you can take, and we would love to have your feedback on that.
Yes, ma'am.
That survey will close at 5 o'clock this Friday.
Thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions? Thank you.
And next we have administrative report here with Steve.
Bill date for the month is 8/20. We billed 13,700,000 gallons of water. It's $130,000 in revenue. 11.6 million gallons of sewer for $146,000 in revenue. And 559 for the flat rate billing for $33,430 on the sewer side. We rented the depot building 4 times, Barrett's Place 3 times, collected $10,834 in business license, $35,585 in motor vehicle, and a whopping $957 in property tax. We processed 809 transactions at the house for $4,658,533, including everything for the waste treatment plant construction project right now. We had 1,282 online transactions totaling $157,091, with 224 of those being on the Open Forums website, totaling $63,948. Clemson Community Care assisted 2 customers. Work orders, we entered 318 and we completed 303. A note about the work orders, we had been preparing, we had gotten word that our software company had merged and been bought out. They were going to discontinue our software. We got notified today that in February they're discontinuing it. We've already been looking for new software to do our work orders, but there's a possibility we won't have a work order system in place by the
I can
time.
build you one on SharePoint.
You can build me one, SharePoint.
Yes.
We might take you up on the offer.
I'd be glad to. For the time being, that's a limp along.
That's a limp along.
Yeah. Amber knows it's all on the SharePoint.
Of course, tonight y'all heard about the road tax. For anybody that's curious, about 80% of our roads that need to be paved will be done by the end of phase 2, which I believe would take place probably around year 4 of the tax and year 5 of the tax, which would be a huge relief for us as far as what we have to go and try to get money for. Central Road Pump Station, the contractor did mobilize and started clearing. They actually had a lot of it cleared today when we went by there. But in addition to that, we have been communicating with SRF, which is who we got the original grant from. We've been able to negotiate $436,000 more in grants for that station. What that's going to do is allow us to move our match for that grant was in our $15 million revenue bond we got for the water and sewer system. We'll be able to move that into the Village Hills, which again will open up money out of the installment purchase revenue bond, and we'll have to either look at or bring back some options to council on where to move that money around in that area. But that station will all but I think $110,000 will be covered by the state now.
That's great news.
Waste treatment plant, of course, we finished the influent pump station leak test last month, and we finished pouring the influent pump station bolts. We also completed the digester equipment installation and the new concrete liner on the small EQ basin and the electric to building 2. We've had a couple problems arise, one of them today, but we have a UV treatment system, which is a Trojan UV treatment system. We were adding another bank. We've had the system in place since 2008. So we had Trojan come out so that we can maintain a warranty on there. We're gonna have to do about $80,000 in repairs, but 40,000 of that is light bulbs that we have to replace. And yes, we have to replace those light bulbs about every 60 months, and it's about $40,000 every time you do it. So we're having to do that. The other thing is our current influent pump station, we have a sinkhole underneath it, and we're now having to monitor. We need that building to last another 12 months we're trying to do it without having to do any foundation jacking, basically spending $100,000 on a building we're tearing down anyway. But that's just from the pipes degrading under the building. Of course, you're moving fluids under the building, which is taking, the foundation with it. The EPA STAG grant, we've been working with everybody on that. We submitted our work plan, and everybody wonders why it takes so long. We had to send our work plan to the Muskogee Nation, which is in Oklahoma. They have to sign off on what we do here in South Carolina, and now they have given us a list of things we need to send them before they will sign off on our work plan. So as soon as they sign off, we will have all the tribal governments' signatures on our plan, which when you have federal dollars, you have to get all the major tribes, which I think there's 6 of them, we have to submit everything to and bring those back in. So we're just waiting on them so we can continue on with the EPA. Winston Street, we've actually done about 80% of the stormwater on Winston. We met with Duke Energy last week because our tree contractor has some concerns about their lines, the shape of their lines before he sent his crews up into the trees to do the trimming. So they're waiting on somebody to come out, a reliability engineer, as they said, to work with the tree contractor. But the street lights are in. As soon as our tree contractor gets done, they'll come in and do the street lights for Winston Street. And we have done the grading on the part closest to Riverside and done all the stormwater on the part closest to Riverside. So they're going to be pouring that, they said, in about 3 weeks. Westinghouse, Waterburgers have moved in their equipment. They're going to start grading, or they have started grading, I should say. So they're doing that, and then they're going to have all their Duke Power stuff, and hopefully that's going to be the last part of Duke Power there. And then S&S will come in and finish our side of it while Waterburgers and People Bank is building. But we did get approached by the old Spinks gas station. They're wanting to get sewer now, and so we told them that they had to annex in. So we met with them last Thursday, told them what it would be. We're waiting on them to come back and ask for the annexation agreement. But we're going to go ahead before we finish the work and install a 6-inch line in front of People's Bank over to the Spinks, so we can pick both of those lots up before we get everything covered up with asphalt. We started working on the Seymour request for qualifications. We've added in the 300,000. We've got Mosley Architects working on what we need from them to put it out so that the contractors can give us some information on that to do their qualifications with. As David said, on the 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Pendleton Elementary School, we'll be having a TIF talk, which will be everything from the design ordinance to greenways to roadways to walkability. So I encourage you to come out. It's actually at a building that's in the TIF, which is why we did it there. The town of Central, of course, we've been working with them on sewer. We met with them again last week. They have a contract with Pickens County. We asked their attorney and their administrator to either get a release from Pickens County or get a commitment that Pickens County would serve it before we release the 17 acres to them. And they were supposed to meet with Pickens County this week to talk to them about it. Riverside Middle School, we met with the working group today. I think the advisory group is meeting next week. We met today, which is one of the reasons why the survey is going back out. We only had 34 responses, and it was circulating the area it's got 34,000 people. So I don't know if that's like 0.001% of the people responded. But it is dealing with the community college, Energy District 4 and us. So it affects a lot of different people in a lot of different money areas. So please watch for that and give us, take the survey and let us know your thoughts on it. Brews parking lot, you can see we have passed the questions due response, which was 8/29. We will send out the responses to the questions by the end of this week. We have added 2 addendums for alternates. One will be to provide a price to do the parking lot in concrete. And the other will be for the installation of 2 electric vehicle charging stations, which are level 2s, which we're just asking for them to provide us with the amount to do a free one in there, so we can see what that price is. That's it.
Good.
Can we get Lindsay to send out a separate post on the survey, see if we can increase those numbers?
Yeah, that delivery is going out for the end of the night. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Well, gov delivery is great, but if we can do a separate one with just the survey, just so that people that don't scan through, just a quick, easy one to click on. Thank you.
So a question on Barrett's Place, how are we doing with that? There's the anniversary coming up, has there been?
Yeah, we met with Carol and a group last Thursday at the church, Tuesday at the church, at the Methodist church. That's in there for the Seymour. So you know, we have the prices for the materials from Leathers, which there's not a whole lot of difference between the price of material and essentially rebuilding the whole thing. The material that's what you need to repair versus what you need to rebuild. So I think it's really going to come down when you can get the Seymour on, and he can start putting labor prices into that material. And of course, that material from Leathers is just the playground. It's not the fencing around it. It's not the surface underneath it. It's not the sidewalks going up to it. It's just the wood structure there, and it's $385,000 just for material. So.
You keep saying 385, I keep hearing 179, so.
It is not 179, it is 385. There is a 179 number in there, and it is basically to stabilize it like it is now, but they will not give us a guarantee past 5 years to do that number. And that's just for material too. So that's, you know, you spend 179 for something that's may get you 5 years, you can spend 385. You know, it's literally $179,000, and you don't have to go back in it for a while. The other one, you're gonna have to go in and out of a lot.
And so the 385 is a 20-year guarantee, or?
It basically puts it back to 20 years, yeah.
I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but my understanding is that they're not having the celebration on the 4th. Is that?
They are not.
They are not,
They are
that's
not.
correct.
I didn't want to spread a rumor.
No, they
It's a
are,
public meeting,
yeah.
but I thought I had seen a comment there.
We had a long conversation with them about the same thing. Here's the reality. If you go with this, you got to start seeing these other numbers, because there's more to it than, you know, $100,000 worth of repairs.
So it's kind of not off the ground at this point. It's
I think from our last meeting, if this helps, once we know more with the
Yeah.
Seymour and what we can and are able to do, then this committee on the playground is going to get together and decide if there's something that they can do in the meantime, in the interim, as some sort of celebration.
And the great thing about the Seymour is once you have them on staff, they can work with Leathers as far as truly assessing what needs to be replaced with Leathers and the architect. That's the whole point, having Seymour, you're doing all your value engineering up front. You're not doing your value engineering on the back end.
When you're a broker.
Mhm. And, you know, just, I haven't looked at it, but the playground that's in the park Anderson just finished.
Starts with an L.
Starts with L. It's
Lindley Park.
Lindley Park. Just the equipment in that park was 1.5 million. Not even the installation on it. So I think the contractor that did it, which is Edifice, I met with them, they said that they had about another 2.5 just in labor and everything else to go with the equipment. So I have no idea how big this
And
playground
what's the
is.
guarantee on that? Because I've heard that rubber doesn't last more than like 5 years.
I don't know really how long they'll guarantee that. I know that there's been a lot out there that's getting some good life. We use an 88 mulch, and we spend $5,000 to $10,000 a year just remulching Barracks Place. Because you have to have a mulch that's certified, that's, you know, double hammered and all this other stuff that you have to have in there. So it's pretty expensive.
All right, any other questions, anyone? Okay, not, thank you, Steve, and we'll move on to our strategic plan update with our plan coordinator, Lynn Merchant.
Thank you. Team one has finished a draft of the request for proposal that they have now sent out to the branding committee, as well as to the strategic team. Did you send it to all of them or just
our center.
just to their team for a final review? That's the deadline to due back on September the 15th. And then I guess we would go beyond that after that.
Yeah, we have a whole timeline for it. Yes, ma'am.
Team two met today, I think. And they are continuing to work on the employment manual. Team three also met today, and they have finished 2 projects, the budget report that's been submitted and on the website. They also have completed the parking wayfinding, thanks to the Public Works who went out Thursday afternoon and got them all out so people could find the parking lots. So that project is finished, and they are working. Our next project will be the UDO, and that draft is ready, and we'll meet on the 15th to start that process. Then we have a quarterly review meeting on September the 17th. So that'll give us an update on all the committees. We'll regroup and hear an update from everybody. So.
Okay. Any questions? Yep. All right, thank you. All right, next we have a discussion item here. This discussion of the upcoming amendments to the business license ordinance as required by Act 176 of 2022. South Carolina's Act 176, the Business License Tax Standardization Act, requires every municipality and county with the business license tax to update its business licensing class schedule every odd-numbered year, with the changes going into effect the following year. As such, 2025 is a required update year to ensure the town of Pendleton remains in compliance with state law. The updates are based on the latest IRS statistical data on business profitability and are reviewed and approved by the South Carolina Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office. Municipalities must adopt the updated class schedule by December 31st, 2025 in order to prepare for business license renewals for the license year running May 1, 2026 to April 30, 2027. Appendix B, which is attached, outlines the classifications that will change. Classifications highlighted in yellow will see an increase in their rates, while those highlighted in green will see a decrease. No other changes to fees are proposed other than those created by the required classification change. The town's current business license ordinance and its most recent amendment are also attached for reference as they reflect the town's existing requirements. First reading will be scheduled for October, followed by the second and final reading at the November Town Council meeting. The schedule will allow the town to meet the state mandated deadline and will also provide the council with sufficient time to review the required updates and ask any questions. Since the staff representative for business licenses will not be in attendance at the October council meeting for the first reading. Having said that, are there any questions about that one? It's just discussion. Any discussion? I don't see that there's much else you can do. So that's,
and
we have Amy here.
We really, we don't even have any business licenses that fall in that class, so.
Yeah.
Most everything is kind of going down.
If your neighbor is mining, tell them they need to do the business license.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
That's
So
true.
no other discussion on that. I guess we'll just move along.
Okay.
We have some action items. First off is consideration of a proclamation for National Patriotism Week. Council will consider this proclamation requested by the Elks Organization proclaiming September 8th through the 14th, 2025 as National Patriotism Week in the town of Pendleton. The proclamation seeks to recognize and encourage patriotism within the community by honoring the principles of freedom, democracy, and unity that define our nation. Having said that, I would like to just read this proclamation real quick. Whereas the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks through its Constitution is a patriotic order, and whereas the order promotes the ideals that the citizens of this nation live in freedom, one through the great sacrifices and many tribulations which have provided the foundation for a free, prosperous, and independent life, and whereas we realize that each generation must work to maintain this freedom, otherwise through carelessness or indifference, the rights and liberties enjoyed may vanish. And whereas it is fitting and proper to recognize this freedom and honor the nation providing it, now, therefore, we, the Pendleton Town Council of the town of Pendleton, South Carolina, do hereby proclaim September 8th through 14th, 2025 as National Patriotism Week in the town of Pendleton. And we urge all of our citizens to join the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks in expressing gratitude for the privilege of American citizenship with appropriate celebrations and observances. Having said all that, do I have a motion that we pass this proclamation?
So
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. And with it, I believe we have some Elks down front here right now. I'd like to present them on this proclamation. Folks will come up, and I believe we have a little photo on here.
You can share, that's okay. Unless you want to be in, I'll send it to you. No, that's okay.
I'm gonna get it folded back.
Remember, you guys are in the picture in the background, remember, okay?
Okay.
Say cheese. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We really appreciate what you guys do for us. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Okay, next we have consideration of waiving fees and insurance for special events. Pendleton Elementary School Hike to School, Pendleton High School Softball, Tennis, Baseball Fundraiser, Pendleton High School Homecoming Parade, and PMC Community Trunk or Treat. The council is asked to consider requests to waive fees and insurance requirements for those events. And the following community events, which Pendleton Elementary School is a Hike to School Day, Make-A-Wish fundraiser. That's September 19th. Students will walk from the doghouse to Pendleton Elementary School as part of a fundraiser. The estimated event fees to be waived are $590. And then we have Pendleton High School Softball, Tennis, Baseball fundraiser, September 27th. Request to use 2 fields and restrooms at Veterans Park after normal operating hours. The estimated event fees to be waived are $340. Pendleton High School Homecoming Parade on October 15th, the request for the annual homecoming parade, which includes downtown road closures. The estimated event fees to be waived are $1,080. And then Pendleton Methodist Church Community Trunk or Treat, October 26th. Council is asked to consider approval of this request, which includes downtown road closures. Please note, this event would follow the Fall Harvest Festival, resulting in 3 consecutive days of downtown closures and requiring staff overtime after working extended hours for the festival. The estimated event fees to be waived are $565. This is a council decision, so what is council's pleasure?
I just want to say, as a educator for 42 years, working with the school districts is a good thing.
I agree.
So motion approved.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Now, are we wanting to take these fees one at a time, or you're just talking about just the one? Because there's fees for various ones, just throwing it out there.
No.
I think we need a motion on each one of them, do we not, or no?
I make the motion that we
Are you
approve all.
are you saying
I
we
was
want to
saying
waive?
let's
To
pass
clarify the
this
motion,
way.
are you saying we're waiving all the fees for everybody?
Yes.
For
Well,
all the special events.
for all the
listed.
special events, okay, just want to be clear. All right, good deal, motion carries unanimous. All right, next, we're going to have consideration of a resolution for the Town Council of Town of Pendleton, South Carolina, rescheduling the Town Council regular meeting for November 4, 2025. The Town Council is asked to consider this resolution rescheduling. The meeting is currently set for Tuesday, November 4, and that happens to be the day of the municipal general election. Traditionally, the meeting would be moved to the following Tuesday. However, November 11th is Veterans Day, a recognized holiday. So to avoid a conflict with both the election and the holiday, it's proposed that the meeting be held on Monday, November 10th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Adoption of this resolution will officially amend the 2025 council meeting schedule to reflect this change.
And just for the record, Mayor,
Yes.
we do not observe Veterans Day as part of our holidays, but I did not know if there were other organizations that may be affected, which is why we recommended the 10th.
Yeah, good, great point. So having said that, what's council's pleasure on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the date change to the 10th.
Okay. And do we have a second on that?
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Unanimous, thank you. Now we have consideration of a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the town of Pendleton and the Pendleton Volunteer Fire Department for fiscal year 2025, 2026. Along with that, I need to mention that there's a change that needs to be made. In making a motion on this, page 3 of 6 of the agreement, section O, the word funding in the last sentence needs to be changed to stipend. Okay. Other than that, are there questions about the MOU or are there motions?
Can you just explain on page 4 what exactly you mean by D?
Oh, it just, what they will do is eventually we'll bring a list, it'll have, maybe it has, $80,000 worth of equipment on, and y'all, the top 5 or what they want to buy, and they, for some reason, they can't get it, and they need to buy something else, and we can work with them either to get an alternate that meets that, or just keep going down that list. Off that rank system right there.
So would that be something like a particular brand of something?
Yeah,
not
like
available or something like that?
if they named, I don't even know what a lot of fire department brands are, but.
Mhm.
It's just a typo.
Yeah.
Shall provide.
Okay, yeah. it's
So
just
it
a
could be
type.
instead of an
They just
MSA
have to provide.
air pack, it
It's-
could be
this-
some other brand.
Oh, that's not,
No.
oh,
Well, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that was another question, but I knew there was a typo, but I think
Yes.
it's J
Yeah.
on page 3. There's been an amendment. It should just say the fire department shall provide proof of a certificate of insurance.
Okay, so sorry, go back to where y'all were. Did you get what you
I think so.
Okay.
And then I have another question is the next item on the agenda, is that included in part of this or that's an additional? So that moves that number up $77,000 if we approve both of them? Or is that their first request? And that's the reason it's put after this request?
no, they came, we have 2, I think it's 2 patrol cars we've got to dispose of. And they asked for one of them, and y'all have to consider whether y'all transfer that asset to them or not. And if you would, because you're transferring the asset below market value, you have to do it through resolution.
Okay, so that would not be their first ask of the $66,000.
This is something they came in and asked totally.
That'd be outside of all that.
Outside of all this. So we either, send the patrol car to them, let them use it, or we put it on gov deals after we strip it all out. And then we try to sell it for whatever we can get. So,
All right, so the people operating that vehicle, are they eligible for the stipend that's included in this? Are they firemen? Are they, how will that?
Let Tommy talk, I just handle writing
Should
the
we do
resolution.
that
So
one where
Well, I mean, the
on
stipend is
that.
included in the, so,
So the reason we requested it was, is Robbie's got to get rid of one of them. And it was gonna go to Gov Deals or wherever. And so we started up doing first responders for the town and for our fire district. Because, we felt that it was a need for the citizens here. And that's what we was gonna use that vehicle for, is for our first responder program.
okay, and so are the first responders eligible for a stipend?
Yes.
So the people, I mean, and how many responses, is that gonna increase the number? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, is how does that impact the stipend? And does that mean that they're gonna run out of stipend money quicker because we're doing this person
Not with
responding
the-
to all medical?
Not with the SOPs that we give you for the stipend. I don't know if you read over the SOP that we give for the stipend, but basically it says that, we'll take the number of calls that's provided in the town limits of Pendleton and the number of personnel that's running those calls in the town of Pendleton, and then divided the 24,000 into 4 quarters. So that gives you $6,000 a quarter. So ever how many calls is run in the town in that quarter would be divided by ever how many points you have. So a stipend, a point may be worth $2, it may be worth $5, it may be worth $10. You don't never know what it's going to be worth to the end of the quarter.
Okay, so do we know how many medical calls, Robbie, do you know how many medical calls we get in a month? And are you gonna respond to every medical call or only a medical call if it involves a fire?
So we're responding to unconscious, cardiac arrest, strokes, traumas, priority 1 falls, stroke, did I mention that?
That's
one? Burns, drownings, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so I'm just thinking, are we increasing the number of calls, which is gonna decrease the stipend, isn't it?
Well,
But it's not
The
gonna,
stipend is capped.
the
at
cap,
the 6,000.
there's not but so much money, so it's not gonna add any
I
money
know it's
to you.
not gonna add, but I mean,
It's gonna make the call worth less.
that's what I'm
Right,
thinking.
if you
But are
rely-
y'all already being toned out for those?
We are.
Okay.
We've ran about 7 this week.
So how many fire calls have you had since this week?
We've had 3, I think, this week. So it's up in the number, but the reason that we started doing it is because when EMS goes out, they don't put nobody else back here. So it's a delay time of.
And I do appreciate it very much. I'm a little concerned that Anderson County might be not making it a priority because we're providing another service, but that's a whole nother issue. But, and then I think I saw on Facebook that you have a truck.
We do have a
So you'll
truck.
have 2, and will they both respond to the truck, the vehicle? Okay,
No.
I guess.
So our truck, that's one that we've already had in service, and it does a lot, other stuff also.
That's the brush fire truck?
No, it's a,
I think it's a utility truck.
It's a service truck that we use for, it's got extrication equipment on it, it's got, extra air packs on it. And it's got medical equipment on it also.
I think to answer your question, I do know that because our police are getting toned out to cardiac arrest.
We go to every priority 1 medical call here in town.
So I don't know, how many more that's gonna add on the medical calls, except there are just more medical calls now than there ever has been. So.
More people, more calls.
And it's just another service to provide to the citizens here. And, you know, I think that our citizens deserve it, so. And it's not that, I know that rumors been give out that the reason that we're doing it is because we're getting paid for it. We're gonna do it because if we're not getting paid for it, because if that was the case, we wouldn't do it, because it makes the pay worth hardly anything running medical calls.
all right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I don't want to discuss the truck, I guess, until we get to the truck, or the car and the medical costs, but I just wanted to figure out whether this was a first request and whether it was how it was gonna impact the stipends.
So I did talk when the police chief came to me about it. The radio that's in there, although the radio is worth $5,000, we can't run those radios that's in that car anymore because we run a remote head radio.
That is correct.
So even that radio for us wouldn't be salvaged, and it would have to go cause an encryption. Essentially, it would have to go somewhere in the county. And I don't know anybody else other than us in Anderson City that have equipment that matches the counties right now.
In Williamston, that's it.
Williamston, that's it. So essentially, the radio would probably have to go to Williamston. So they're 800 megahertz radios. So you're probably, going to junk that out anyway. And then you're just the value of this vehicle, which we think is $8,000. You put it on Gov Deals, and maybe you get $2,000 for it. You don't know what you'll get till you put it out there.
All right.
Any more questions?
I feel like the memorandum is squared away. I make a motion to approve.
Okay. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. Next, we have consideration of resolution authorizing disposal of surplus property to the Pendleton Volunteer Fire Department in accordance with the town's disposal of surplus property policy. And of course, we've been talking about it here, but read it just for everybody's benefit. The Pendleton Volunteer Fire Department has requested transfer of one of the town's spare police vehicles to be repurposed as a medical quick response vehicle, commonly known as a QRV. The vehicle, along with the associated radio equipment, has a combined estimated fair market value of $13,432. The vehicle is considered surplus personal property and it is not essential to town operations. In accordance with the town's disposal of surplus property policy, council may authorize its transfer for less than fair market value to another public entity when there is a demonstrated public benefit. If approved, the vehicle and radio equipment will be transferred to the Pendleton Volunteer Fire Department for use as a QRV, with ownership reverting to the town, should the fire department discontinue its use for this purpose. So, any more questions about that one?
My only question on this was, during the budget, we were searching for a vehicle for planning department.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, could we not buy them a vehicle and give them this one instead of that? I think it would go, it's already upfit as a responder vehicle. I think there's value in that it's already put together.
Mm-hmm.
Why take it apart? But in terms of our Pendleton priorities, that was just a consideration I had.
Mm-hmm.
So we already own the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Owen would look real cool in this.
Yeah, I think he would.
But Robbie already told me he wanted that decal for his pool fence. So.
Gotcha. Anybody else got thoughts on that? Well, I'll just open it up. Do we have a motion for anything? Yeah, you know.
Well, on the motion that we authorize this for the fire department.
Okay,
We have a motion. Is there a second to that?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Unanimous. Thank you. All right, so next we have consideration of a resolution, Town Council, supporting the pursuit of Main Street Friends Program. Consideration of a resolution authorizing the town of Pendleton to become part of the Municipal Association of South Carolina's Friends of Main Street Program. Participation in this program was identified as a town goal and is a key responsibility of the Community Engagement Manager position. Passage of this resolution will allow staff to dedicate time and resources to the application process and further the town's efforts to support downtown revitalization and community engagement. Any questions?
Do we know how much funding is available that we're in contention for?
So what this level, I'm almost certain doesn't let you into the funding yet.
Okay.
This is the very first level you can get into. It's the first two levels allows you to have access to the program without the major financial commitment. So when you go to essentially the second step and the first or second from the top, and the actual top of which Main Street USA, you have a pretty significant financial investment in dues, and you have to have a full-time staff member and everything else. This lets you go to the conferences.
That's the friendship.
That's the friendship, yep.
Okay.
It lets you have access to their consultants or so.
You can look but not play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's about what it sounds like.
Had Pendleton been involved in something like this before? Main Street program?
No, it's, we've never been involved in it, mainly because it wasn't until 3 years ago they actually established the 4 levels. And so the only way you could be involved was to make the financial commitment to it. And it's, at the time or prior, it was like a $75,000 commitment.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
I know Walhalla was doing it and then got out of doing it.
Yeah, the ones that you see, Williamson's doing pretty good at it. They've been in it for several years now.
There are a number of business owners who've expressed a great deal of interest that they've experienced it in other communities and are very excited about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walhalla has got in it and out of it, and talking to some of them up there, you can definitely, it's hurdle. And Pickens has got in and out of it over the course of the years, and it's kind of set them back a little bit too.
My only, in looking through the Main Street kind of program, some of it is like not really what our main focus, like it's trying to pull a Main Street from being blighted almost, or, you know, I think we're lucky to have a lot of dynamism. I think this can add some more to what we already got, but some of our priorities in terms of the artistic corridor or something that's off of Main Street is not as fulfilled by this program. So, and just that our commercial is sort of spread out between 76 and the gateway into town and then downtown. So that was really the only drawback when I was looking into it. It's like it kind of gets you into this, hey, this is what we're focusing on.
You won't have a defined space.
Right, only the downtown. But I think in terms of the friend level, it's definitely worth exploration. And
Well, and I do think you can have that defined area almost being with the Queen Street corridor, if you end up doing that,
Yeah.
the Main Street corridor. So you could go from the TIF district to the Village Green and have that as your area.
sounds good. Yeah, there's a lot of buzz around and a lot of good presentations that we've seen at the MASC.
Yep.
So seems like a good program.
All right, you want to
Lindsay will have to tell us about it after she goes to one of these conferences.
So I'll make a motion that we support the Pursuit of the Main Street Friends program.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a
Second.
We've got a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. All right, now we have consideration first reading of an ordinance to amend Article 3, Section 3-6, subsection 3H1, and Section 3-7, subsection 3H1 of the Town of Pendleton zoning ordinance and change the review process for request for a major change to an approved planned unit development or flexible review district. At its regular meeting on June 3rd, 2025, Pendleton Town Council directed staff to review and update the current process for requesting a major change of properties zoned as planned unit development or flexible review district to ensure compliance with South Carolina state law. Under the existing town ordinance, all major change requests must be approved by town council before being reviewed by the planning commission. However, state law requires the planning commission to review such requests first and provide a recommendation to town council. Amending this ordinance will bring the process into alignment with state law, improve public transparency, and streamline the review procedure. At Pendleton Town Council's regular meeting on August 5th, 2025, council unanimously resolved to accept the Pendleton Planning Commission's recommendation to amend this ordinance and change the process. Having said that, is there any discussion or is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to go ahead with this.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimous. All right. Next, we have consideration of second final reading of an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of the Town of Pendleton, South Carolina tax increment bonds, Village Hills redevelopment project area, and other matters pertaining thereto, prescribing the form of bonds issued hereunder, pledging the incremental tax revenues and other funds to the payment of the principal and interest of the bonds, and making other covenants and agreements in connection with the foregoing. This item is the second and final reading of a general bond ordinance that authorizes Town of Pendleton to issue general obligation bonds in one or more series to fund the future capital improvements of the projects. The passage of this ordinance establishes the legal framework for future bond issuances. Upon adoption of the bond ordinance, the town will simultaneously move forward with a first supplemental ordinance that will provide for the issuance of the first series of bond in an amount not to exceed $300,000. So it's second and final. We've seen it before.
Make a motion.
Got a motion, got a second.
Second.
Got a motion second, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. All right, next we have consideration of second final reading of the first supplemental ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of a not exceeding $300,000 Town of Pendleton, South Carolina tax increment improvement bond, Village Hills redevelopment project area series 2025, and other matters relating thereto. This is the second and final reading of the first supplemental ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $300,000 bonds to support water and sewer infrastructure improvements within Village Hills tax grant increment financing TIF district. This action initiates the formal financing process to advance utility construction in the area. In addition, council will have the opportunity to consider allocating $300,000 from the IPRB fund to support collateralized property improvements at the Town Hall and Veterans Park as identified in the TIF project plan. Do I have a motion? Or a question?
Motion.
All right, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second motion.
I have a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you both. And I believe that takes us to item 9. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate everyone coming out.
Sold.